Question number 3, Darroch Ball.
To the Minister of Finance, in light of the publication of the Salvation Army report, Moving Targets, does he stand by all of his statements?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, yes, in particular any number of statements to the effect that the government is making progress on dealing with some of the more challenging issues among our vulnerable and lowest income New Zealanders. And I stand in the Salvation Army report, by and large, in fact almost without exception, backs up those statements.
Supplementary question, Darroch Ball.
Does he stand by his statement when asked about the New Zealand First Members Bill requesting the Office of the Auditor-General review the better public service targets that, quote, we do better than that, we get them scrutinised by the New Zealand public, end quote?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, yes, anyone is welcome to scrutinise the numbers and how they're calculated. It happens that the Auditor-General and the Audit Office do have a look at them. Central agencies do. We're actively encouraging external organisations. In fact, I think the social sector's taken a bit long to organise itself in a way that means it can apply some real expertise to holding the government to account. We would welcome that.
Supplementary question, Darroch Ball.
If that's the case, does he agree with the Salvation Army's Alan Johnson that better public service targets should be debated publicly, given that they are already critically examining the, quote, often flimsy information offered by officials on accuracy of data, end quote?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, yes, and I'm pleased to see the Salvation Army actually doing it. It's creating a public debate about the numbers, and probably some people who are listening to that debate will be surprised how much progress is being made on some of our core long-term issues. With respect to flimsy data, yes, there are a lot of areas where the data is flimsy, because in the past, government hasn't bothered much about whether it's making a difference to people's lives. We're trying to find out if we are, and be quite willing to be held to account where we're not making enough difference.
Supplementary question, Darroch Ball.
How can the public have confidence in the target results when trusted organisations like the Salvation Army are now saying, quote, some government agencies appear to be using targets and the numbers behind them in a less than straightforward and reliable manner, and, quote, changing the definitions behind indicators so results appear better, to inventing new numbers?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, as I think I said before, I think the Salvation Army are overstating a couple of concerns they have about two particular measures. And any of these numbers that are used are open to debate about exactly how they're calculated and used, but we're quite happy to have that debate. In fact, I think we've been trying to contact the Salvation Army because when you look in the document, it's hard to see just what the problem is that they're referring to. But the public can have confidence because this is the first government ever to publish this sort of data and report against it and to welcome debate about the performance in changing people's lives.
Supplementary question, Darroch Ball.
Does he agree with the Salvation Army's Alan Johnson when he says public scrutiny and analysis undertaken by Treasury is, quote, not the same thing as tangible results verified by a party that does not have a vested interest in reporting good news stories?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, of course, the Salvation Army report is an independent entity who have the intelligence and capacity to look at the data, actually verifying tangible progress. I mean, if there are 24% less children on benefit, we regard it as progress. They have looked at the information, which is Department of Statistics information, and they are saying that it's progress. I would hope more organisations will do what the Salvation Army have done, because that can only improve the performance of government in changing lives.
Supplementary
question, Darroch Ball.
Will he back New Zealand First Members Bill, which calls for an independent audit of the better public service targets by the Office of the Auditor-General, this now being the third time in the last year we've asked the government to do so?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, no, because there's no need for it. The Salvation Army are conducting an independent audit. They've raised 2 issues out of hundreds of statistics, and we're quite happy to look at it. They're free to get the experts from all the universities in New Zealand to come in and pore over every detail in it. We welcome that kind of public scrutiny because it'll make us better at changing the lives of the most vulnerable.
Point of order, Darroch Ball.
I seek leave to introduce the Better Public Service Target Results Independent Audit Bill, which ensures that all government better public service targets are independently
The motion's
scrutinised.
been moved. I'll put the lever sought for that course of action. Is there any objection? Yes. There is. Question